Good HEB water. Free promo. All right, in this video, we're gonna be talking about paradigms. We're gonna go over what a paradigm is, what it controls, where is it located, and how to change a paradigm. So there's a couple definitions I like to use for this. The first one is a set of rules and regulations these can be written or unwritten. That does two things. First, it sets or establishes boundaries. And second, it tells us how to behave inside of these boundaries in order to be successful. So first, sets or establishes boundaries. Second, tells us how to behave inside of these lower my voice is going tells us how to behave inside of these boundaries in order to be successful. Now, when we see this word successful, we can usually measure this by our ability to solve problems. Another definition I like to use, this is from Bob Proctor. He said, a paradigm is a multitude of ideas fixed in our subconscious mind that has almost exclusive control over our behavior, over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. So when we understand those two, we can get an idea of how this paradigm is controlling the results that we get. So we're going to go back to our stick figure man. This is understanding our mind. Up top, we have the conscious mind. This is where we think. This is our reasoning mind. And it can accept or reject ideas. Then we have the subconscious mind. And this is where the paradigm is. Now, we don't have just one paradigm. We have several paradigms with respect to the different areas in our life. The paradigm, also called the conditioned mind, this is where our body takes action from, which ultimately produces the results that we get in our life. So going back to the laws that we talked about, we have the law of polarity. This tells us there's a negative and a positive to everything. So a person who has predominantly negative paradigms is going to get negative results. But this person, being a big ball of energy, just is. Nobody's born negative or positive. This paradigm is given to us through our genes, through our heritage, and our environment. We can say genes / culture Damn. And repetition. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over. We heard things, we experienced things, we went through things, and it formed this paradigm. So what is something in the paradigm? Since we're talking about us as humans, as energy, something that resides in the paradigm is called our self-image. And how we define a self-image is by three things. First, how we see ourselves. Not how your friends see you, not how your family sees you, not how your parents see you, your teachers, your boss, nobody. This is how you truly see yourself, down here in this heart. The next one is how we think people see us, how we think others see us. And lastly, the ideal version we hold of ourselves. The ideal version of us. And this forms our self-image. Now, this is only one concept of the paradigm. But remember, we have a multitude of ideas. This is one idea. But this idea is so important because how we see ourselves truly determines the results that we get in our life. Because you can think all day long, I want to be rich. Now we have to define rich, and this is based on your definition, but let's get more specific and say, I want $1 million. I want to have $1 million. Even from here, we can understand why do we want $1 million? Do we want $1 million so we can spend $1 million? Or do we want $1 million so we can make our $1 million make $10 more million? And this comes from things called habits. Because if you have a habit of spending all your money, it doesn't matter how much money you're going to make. We want to focus on how much money we keep. But getting back to the self-image, if you do not see yourself actually in possession of this, there's no way you're going to get this in your physical realm. Remember that we operate on 3 planes simultaneously. The spiritual plane, intellectual plane, physical plane. Most people, or a lot of people, identify with this physical plane. They make decisions based on this plane. They see their bank account, say negative 65 cents. They're like, damn, there's no way I can be a millionaire when I'm looking at this bank account tell me this is how much money I'm worth. But what we want to do is make our decision from this spiritual plane, this place. And how we do this is by using the faculties of our mind. So now I'm going to erase this and show us what the faculties of our mind are. And to get a better understanding of what I mean by faculties, we can define that as an inherent mental or physical power. The word inherent means that it was gifted. Where do we get this gift from? God. When we really start to work off that understanding that God being up here in the spirit, the highest form of this, there's a power flowing to us and through us. We're down here somewhere, and this power is flowing to us. And we have the ability to originate and bring ideas from this plane into this physical world. with these faculties. What are the faculties? In no particular order, we have imagination, reason, will, perception, memory, and intuition. Now we have maybe more than this, but these are the ones I'm going to highlight today. Particularly imagination. I believe Think and Grow Rich said, whatever the mind of a man can hold and conceive in his mind, he can hold it in his hand. Something like that. But that makes so much sense. If you never see it in this imaginative plane, in this spiritual plane, you're not going to get it out here. But what we don't do is use our imagination for good. A lot of people, going back to the law of polarity, hyper-focus on this. Why? Because the program is set up that way. The program is designed to keep you living in a low vibrational state. We understand everything is vibration. And we can get a picture of it like this. The program is designed to keep you down here. But through decision, a committed decision, we have the power to raise our vibration, ultimately improving the results we get as far as our health, happiness, and wealth. But this can only be decided by you. And my intention is to help us get to that door where we can decide to open this door and walk down that path and pay the price, because there is a price to pay. Just because we think doesn't mean anything. Success works in a team. Thoughts plus action. And you will fail. You will make mistakes. But something I like to live by is quitters never win and winners never quit. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If you make that decision, that committed decision, and you really start to study these things and get an understanding, especially the law of gender. Law of gender. And if you need a refresher, go back to the first video I posted, 7 Universal Laws. The law of gender tells us there's a yin and yang, a male and female, in all of creation. We just saw that here. Thought and action. That's 2 things that make success. And it also tells us there's a gestation period or incubation period for everything. And what are we doing here? We're bringing this seed, this spiritual idea, into the physical plane through the bridge, which is our mind. We saw with the stick man how that works, how we get the results. But what happens is people quit. And what do we say? Quitters never win. Winners never quit. They quit because they have a temporary defeat, temporary setback. But all this stuff ties into each other. Because if you're getting failure in your physical realm, the opposite of this is success. So that means the success is still here. You maybe can't see it, but we can see it with our higher faculties. We have to really work with these higher faculties and stop operating on this lower physical plane. This is what separates us from the rest of the animals. When we wake up in the morning, we have a choice. We have many choices, and life is defined by the choices that we make. What separates us from the rest of the animals? They don't have a choice. when my cat wakes up in the morning, he can't say, today I'm gonna go to PetSmart and give me some catnip. No, he does instinctively what he's programmed to do. He eats, he sleeps, he plays. That's it. But you and I, we have choices. We have free will. God gifted us free will. Which this is so important because God can only do for us what he can do through us. And I like to show this through the story of the man that was drowning. He was drowning at sea. And he's praying. He says, God, come save me. Please, please come save me. And here comes a boat. That's a boat. That's a boat. Here the man is drowning in the water. The boat's like, here, get on. He's like, no, don't worry. God is going to come save me. So the boat says, all right, fine. Some minutes later, another boat comes, big boat. Here, get on the boat. We're going to help you. He says, no, don't worry. God's going to come save me. Off the boat goes. Then a helicopter comes. Uh-oh. We don't know how to draw a helicopter. We'll just say that's a big bird. Helicopter comes. Here, get on. No, don't worry. God's going to come save me. What does the man do? He dies. When he gets to heaven, he says, God, why didn't you save me? God said, well, I tried to. I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What people think is that if they just have faith, they just believe that God's going to come do it for them. No, through our free will, we have to take action. And that comes with our reason. Why are we doing the things that we want to do? For me, I want freedom. Y'all will learn through listening to these videos. This is what I desire. Why? Because we were born free. We were born natural risk takers, born free. We knew how to attract what we needed. But as we got older, by the age of 5 to 6, maybe 7, no pun intended, our self-image was formed. And as we got older, through repetition, that self-image was reinforced. So if we grew up hearing in our senses that we couldn't do something, no, because we got to that age where we start asking why. Why? And our parents told us, because I said so. No, because I said so. Then we go to school. You ask to go to the restroom. They say no. Do you ask to do this? They say no. Everybody's telling you what to do. This stops both of these. Your imagination, your reason, your will, your perception. Stops all these things. So you stop free thinking. In this channel, we are free thinkers. We think. There was a quote that said, 95% of people would rather die than think. 3% of people think they think, and 2% of people actually think. This is how you think. Using our faculties to bring an idea into this physical plane without violating the rights of other people. We're not out here robbing, stealing, killing. We're not doing those things. Because once you realize, all you have to do is ask, and ye shall receive. You start playing on a different level. We're not competing. I'm not in competition with anybody. It is creative at the top, not competitive. Low vibration stuff is competitive. Why would I want to compete with you? That means we're fighting against something. I want to come together and work collectively. And that's the power of partnership, power of mastermind groups, power of aligning yourself with people that want to do the same or similar to what you want to do. So now I'm going to tell us what our paradigm controls. Our paradigm controls a few things. A big one, our ability to earn money. This is a big one. Big, big, big. If you want the big bucks, you have to change the paradigm. Because what happens when we change the paradigm? We're essentially playing a new game. Which takes me to the point that all games are paradigms. And what we're playing is called the game of life. And this life has rules, regulations that are written, that once we study them, we can work in harmony with these and get better results in our life. So what else does the paradigm control? Our perception. Let's write this in a new color. Big and bright. We'd probably be going on 50 minutes by now. Perception. This is how we view the world. This is why two people, go back to the law of polarity, can be in the same situation and one person comes out with this perception and one person comes out with this perception. The choice is yours. There is good in everything. But if you're the type of person that sits and mopes and misery loves company, you're going to find more people that sit and mope. But you can't expect to soar with the eagles and you down there flocking with the chickens. Can't do it. All right, what else does the paradigm control? The paradigm controls our logic. And the paradigm is good. It's very good. Because when you go to change it, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You go to change the paradigm, it fights back super hard. This is why people, New Year's, new resolution. I'm in the gym this year. I'm getting swole. They're in the gym 3 days. And yeah, back to square one. They already quit. Because they tried to change the physical realm without changing this paradigm. What else? The paradigm controls, if we let it, everybody has a choice. Our creativity. Our effectiveness. I can't spell today. Our productivity. And our use of time. Everybody has the same time. We have all there is. But what your paradigm does is control these things. Again, if you let it. So we said earlier it was a set of rules and it establishes a boundary. We can look at this box as the boundary. The paradigm is really good at, once we take in information, it filters it this fast, very fast. If it doesn't fit this, it kicks it out. It won't even look for stuff in this physical realm that doesn't fit here. But once you make that decision, what happens? The walls come down. The wall comes down. Now, this doesn't mean anything changes in your physical realm, but we know the law of cause and effect, something will change. It may not happen right away, but trust the law of gender, the incubation period. If we keep at it, keep improving our paradigm, we will reap the benefits. So how, lastly, do we change or alter a paradigm? How do we shift our paradigm? There's only 2 known ways to shift the paradigm. Number 1, number 2. Number 1 is repeated statements, thoughts that are opposite of the current paradigm. So the basis of this, we need to know where we are. Remember these lines. We need to know where we are. And we can see this by the results that we're getting in our life. If you're making $50,000 a year, I don't think you want to make $50,000 a year. I just don't think you know how to make $500,000 a year. And you can. You truly can. Once you get an awareness of how to do it. So we need to know where we are, and we need to know where we're going. Plain and simple. So how we change the paradigm? Repeated statements opposite of our current paradigm. A great way to do this is read, study, read the Word of God. The Word is so beautiful. But what we do is we conform to the patterns of this world. We listen to other people tell us how we need to be living life just to fit in. What are we over here? Free thinkers. I don't want to be like you. God made us all unique for a purpose. And the next one is an emotional impact. Now, a lot of people think this has to be negative, but it doesn't. It can be positive. You don't have to be sick to go to the doctor. You don't have to be sick to want to get better. A good quote, I don't know who this was by, but he said, "Don't let a good life get in the way of a great life." If things are going good, they can get better. Why? Because this life is forever expanding. But if you allow the chaos in the world to tell you all the negative that is out there, which is a part of this negative low vibrational program, this paradigm, you're going to see that. But the choice is truly yours. There is light in the darkness. We want to be the light. So there you have it. We talked about what a paradigm is, what it controls, and how we can change it.